Hi guys, welcome to a new video. In this video, we'll be making this wrap dress and we use like two different fabric for this style. If this is something you like, keep watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll be notified whenever I make a new post. Thank you. For this style, you're going to need about 4 yards of fabric. So I have 3 yards each of the plain and pattern, but I didn't finish them. Now to cut out your fabric, you're going to take your bust measurement divided by 4, add your allowance, your up to half length, add your allowance, and you're going to cut it out. Now you're going to go ahead and take your measurement starting with your shoulder line, which is what I'm marking. Next thing I'm marking is my shoulder measurement, which is 7.5 inches. I went down to my chest line, which is 9 inches. Please, I already added the 1 inch for my shoulder slope. And to get this, you're going to divide your bust measurement by 6 plus 1.5. I'm just connecting the lines to the shoulder line. And guys, please note, because this is a wrap, you're going to be cutting the back and use the back to cut the front. So this is my half length line. I initially added ½ inch as my allowance, but I decided to add another ½ inch to make my allowance 1 inch so that I can trim out if I want. Now I'm taking my neck width, which is 3.5 inches. I'm using 3.5 inch. I came down to get my shoulder slope, which is 1 inch, and I'm going to connect that line to my neck width, just like I'm doing. For my neck depth, I'm going to be coming down by 1.5 inches. I think I ended up using 2 inches. And then I'm just going to get my curve. On my chest line, I'm going to be taking my bust measurement divided by 4. I'm also going to go ahead and add my allowance. You can use 1.5 or 2 inches depending on what you want. I'll repeat the same thing on my waistline, which is my waist measurement divided by 4 and then 2 extra inches as my allowance. Now on my armhole line, I'm going to take the midpoint, go in by ½ inch, and then I'm going to connect first to this part going to the shoulder line, and then with a curve I'm going to connect to where my bust measurement is, just like I've done. The next thing to do is to connect the points together, and that's all for the back of this piece. I'll just go ahead and cut it out following the lines. Now for the front piece, you're going to make sure you have cut out a piece of fabric that is at least 8 to 9 inches wider than what you have for your back. And remember that this fabric has different parts for the left and the right. That's why you see that one is a plain pattern and the other is the Ankara. So I'm just going ahead to extend the 7 inches from where the back piece stops. I hope you can see this clearly. The next thing to do is to mark my neck width. One thing about anything you are making, the wideness of the neck must match for both the front and the back. So after marking the neck width, which is 3.5, I came down by 9 inches. I came down by 9 inches for the deepness of the neck. If you wanted it a little low, so you can go ahead and do 7 inches if that's something you would like. Now from the bottom, that's the lower part, I went up by 2.5 inches. I marked the points there. Now I'll take out the back piece. The next thing to do is to connect from my neck width to where I want my neck, the depth of my neck to stop, and then I'm going to connect to the 2.5 inches. I hope you can see this and it is clear. So this is me just connecting the 2.5 in a little slant. You can choose to do it straight if you want it to be more covered up, but I did mine. I made a little tiny curve. And that's all. The next thing to do, you're just going to trace out the side so that the armhole will match. And this is what you have by the time you are done. So one part is the Ankara and the other part is the plain. So the next thing to do is to go ahead and cut your lining. Please, this lining is optional. You can actually use a bias strip to turn this outfit. You don't need a lining piece, but I've gone ahead to cut out my lining. for one side I'm using black, the plain part I repeated the same fabric as the lining just because of the color, so it will come out very well. After cutting out your lining, next thing to do is to join it on your neck area and then by the side. This is for the back piece. Now you're going to repeat the same process for the front, but before you do that, you'll be attaching a belt to your front piece. So you're going to attach a belt on both parts. As you can see, my belt is 2 inches wide, and then for the length you can make it how long you want or how short. Mine is about 40 inches. So you're going to place it on the right side. Please just watch what I'm doing. Place it on the right side of this, and then you're going to place the lining piece on top of it just like that, and then you're going to go by half an inch. You're also going to sew down. So this is what it should look like by the time you are done. The belt is going to be sewn in, and when you open it up, that's how it is going to be looking. You're going to repeat this process for both sides of your wrap. So as you can see, I have half an inch left at the bottom part of this that I'll use to join to the lower part of my gown. So what you did for one part of this dress, you're going to be repeating the exact same process for the other part. Place it on the fabric and then cover with your lining piece, and then go and stitch round. Turning it over to the right side, this is just what it looks like. So this is what you'll be having. The belt is going to be neatly stitched in between the lining piece and the fabric, and this is what you have. Now I've placed both the front and the back part right side facing each other. The next thing to do is to take my dart. This is actually optional as well. You can choose to do it or not to do it. But if you're attaching a dart, you're going to do the exact same thing, the usual way you get your dart. So you're going to ignore the 7 inches that you went out by to get your wrap. So from that 7 inches point, you're going to mark 4 inches like you usually do to get your dart. And then when you mark a point there, you're going to go out by half an inch on both sides. I went up by 5 inches, and then you're going to connect your dart. After I was done connecting my dart, this is what it looks like for the back piece. And this is what it is looking like for the front piece. Just go ahead and give this a very nice press. The next step is to join my fabric shoulder to shoulder. So you're just going to place it like so. Make sure the fabric is together and the lining is together. That's one way to do it. And this other way, you're going to take the lining of the back piece to cover up every other thing, and then you're going to stitch by half an inch to get a very nice inseam finish. After I've done that, this is what it looks like at the front, and this is what it looks like at the back. As you can see, give it a very nice and neat inseam finish. I'm done with the upper part for now. So for the lower part, I'm just using a paper to show you how you're going to be folding your fabric to get the flare. I think we've done that more than once on the channel, but this is exactly how you're going to do it. You're going to be getting like a triangle shape. I think it's called the 90-degree triangle. As you can see, I've gone ahead to fold my fabric like that, and just like I did for the upper part, I'll be cutting the back first before I'll use the back to cut the front, just like we did for the upper part. So what you're going to do is to take your waist measurement divided by 4. You're also going to add your allowance, and you're going to mark the point where you get your waist measurement. So this is me just trying to measure it to be sure it is my actual waist. It turned out to be a little bit bigger, so I just came up a little bit to get another line. And I'm measuring it yet again to be sure it matches with my waistline. After doing that, I'm just going to measure from the top of the fabric to get exactly what I have. And then just to be sure that it kind of matches, because that's the line I'm going to be using to get my actual length of my flare. So this is me going ahead to measure again to be sure that it matches. And now I'm just going to take the actual length of this dress. Now, as you can see from the video, I'm taking the length from the upper part to get the actual. As you can see, this is how I'm doing it. It gives you a more rounded measurement when you take it that way. And then I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. So this is what I have for the back part of this dress. Now that I've gotten the back piece, I'm going to be placing it on top of another fabric to cut out the front piece. And the difference between the front and the back is the extension. Remember, I added an extra 7 inches to get my wrap. So since this is a wrap, I'll be doing the exact same thing. So I'm adding an extra 7 inches, just like I did for the upper part of this dress. After I'm done adding this 7 inches, just go ahead and cut. That's the only difference between the front and the back. Remember, I'm cutting for one piece. That's one side of this front. If you see from the thumbnail, you'll see that the other side requires the other material. So after cutting, I'll take the back piece away and then I'm going to place this on the plain part of this fabric to cut out the other side of this wrap. So now I have the two pieces for the front. I'm going to go ahead and join them. So back facing back, this is the lower part of the back. I'm going to be joining it to the upper part of the back by 1/2 inch. And I'll be repeating the exact same thing for the front. So I'm going to take them matching each other. The plain will go to the side of the upper part that is plain, and the Ankara part will go to the side of the Ankara that is plain. You're just going to go ahead and stitch it by 1/2 inch. You repeat this process for the plain part. I'm going ahead to pin this down just to make it easy for me. After joining all of the pieces together, the dress is coming together nicely. So this is what it is looking like for the back part. So this fabric, I'm actually managing it. So I'm going to use an iron to remove the paper part. If you are done, you notice I have a little bit of excess on the side. Remember that you stitched the upper part inside using your lining to turn it. You didn't do it for the Ankara. So I'm just going to use that part and fold it inside to give it a nice, just give it a nice inseam look. So as you can see, I also have my excesses for this side. So I'm just going to go ahead and hem it a little bit. So just fold it in and give it a very nice stitch. Now before I join my fabric together, this has a pocket. So I'm just measuring, I think I marked 8 inches for the pocket, and I'm just using my hand to cut out the pocket. This is just like an inseam pocket. So it is very simple. Just trace out your hand. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It gets the job done. Please note that I cut the pocket on fold. So I have 2 pieces of this pocket, and 2 pieces is going to give you 1 pocket. I'm placing this on another fabric that is folded in 2 also to cut out the other side of the pocket. So by the time I'm done, I'll be having 4 pieces of this pocket, which is going to give me 2 pockets. So 2 for each side. So I've gone ahead to place the fabric right sides facing each other. And this is how you're going to put in the pocket. You're going to put the pocket right side facing each other. So the right side of the pocket is going to face the right side of the fabric. Please just watch what I'm doing. For the point where I'm placing the pocket, I came down by 1 inch from the waistline. And then I measured 7 inches. So 1 inch from your waistline. And this is what how I'm placing the pocket. I'm placing it right side facing the right side of the fabric, and then just pinning it down. You can go ahead and stitch it on that area. So you're going to pin this down, right side of the pocket facing the right side of the fabric. So after you're done stitching it, you stitch it, just follow the lines. You stitch it on the point that I pinned. So just follow that line, and this is what you are going to have. It makes it very neat on the outside when you are done. The next thing to do is to actually join your fabric. You're going to come down just so by 1 inch. I used an allowance of 1 inch. So just from the upper part, follow right down through the pocket to the end of this dress. You're going to, that's the path you're going to follow. And you're going to repeat this for both sides of the dress. So when you are done, this is what it looks like. As you can see, it came out nicely. The next thing to do is to insert your sleeve. So for the sleeve, you're just going to take the measurement of the sleeve area on the dress, and that's what you're going to be using to cut out your sleeve. So just like we did for the fabric, we're going to be using the plain and the Ankara part for the sleeve as well. So just place the both of them, and you're going to get your starting line. I came down by 4 inches for my bicep, and then I measured how wide the armhole was. That's exactly what I did. I also measured it on the bicep line, and in a slant I got the midpoint, so you're just going to slant it, and then you're going to get the midpoint of that slanted line that you made. From that midpoint, you're going to slant a little bit, that's half an inch upwards to the cap, and then half an inch downwards. That's just like the easiest way I get my sleeve measurements. And then on the lower part, just how wide you want it to be. If you want it to be big, if you want it to be slim fitted, that part is totally optional. And please don't forget to add your allowance. I added an allowance of 1 inch. I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. I'll go to my sewing, and I'm going to hem this sleeve, and then I'm going to join it by 1 inch, after which it will be ready to connect to my dress. After I was done, this is what the sleeve looks like. So I'm going to be placing the Ankara part on the part that has Ankara and the plain on the part that is plain. So I'm just going to sew it round, and that will be all. I think almost all for the dress. After inserting the sleeve, you are done or almost done with the dress. The next thing to do is to go ahead and open up an area around the waistline where your belt can pass in for one side. I actually ended up doing this for both sides of this dress because the owner wanted me to make it open so that the plain and the pattern can come in whatever direction she pleases it. So measure where you want your rope to pass, and then stitch on top of it and underneath it, because you're going to be loosening that area. That's just the simple hack. So stitch on top and beneath where you're going to be opening, and use your seam ripper to loosen the area. And that'll be all for this dress. Then you go ahead and hem the bottom. I haven't even ironed this properly, but this is exactly what it looks like by the time I was done. I think it came out nicely. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you'll be notified whenever I make a new post. Thank you, and see you in my next video.